guys, this movie sucked. So The Nun, yeah, it's the 5th movie now in the Conjuring universe, and to be honest, I walked in with higher expectations than I probably should have. I really enjoyed the first 2 Conjuring movies, and I liked the second Annabelle a lot. I wasn't a fan of the first Annabelle, but I was hoping after the second Annabelle that this movie would be a lot stronger. So if you don't know, The Nun is a spin-off to Conjuring 2, which is the first time that we saw this demonic entity join the franchise. She was a really cool visual and added a lot to the creepy nature of what that movie had to give. I really enjoyed how she was used in Conjuring 2, and visually she brings a super creepy element that I think a lot of people were really excited about when this movie was announced. So let's talk about my general feelings on this movie. I really wasn't a huge fan. I didn't hate it. I don't think it was a terrible movie, but it definitely wasn't great. It's one of those movies that just kind of falls flat and you don't really feel like you care about the characters or anything happening. It's generic, guys. It's just generic. If you like horror films or you watched a lot of horror films, it just hits every generic trope that you've seen, heard, and it has been done. It's very much one of those spin-off films that makes you feel like, why did they even make this? It doesn't really add anything to the overall story, and it just feels like, why? Just why? Now, that's not to say that this movie is all negatives, because I really did enjoy the visuals of it. The movie is beautifully shot, and a lot of the creepy elements that visually are there. I really enjoyed some of the elements, especially when the nun shows up. She's just such a cool looking character, and then something so creepy about her that when she shows up, you really enjoyed it. The lighting would be nice, the shots would be nice, but there was never anything to add to her. She was nothing but what she was in Conjuring 2, just a demon that was walking around and creeping around. So it makes you wonder, why did they make a whole film dedicated to this character that's just there? It's her own movie and she's just there. It's not really even about her and how she became the way she is or anything like that. It's just, she's just there to be another scary thing. I would say the biggest problem I have with this movie is that it's just littered with cheap scares. There's really nothing to it that's genuinely scary. There's maybe a handful of moments with tension or some sort of creep factor, maybe because something visually looks creepy. But even then, you're never really scared. And anytime that they try to actually make an effective scare, it's all based on jump scares. And it's not effective. It's not scary. You just sit there and you have a jump moment because it just gets loud all of a sudden. You're not scared of what's actually happening on screen. There's no reason for me to have 45 jump scares that I can genuinely predict. The entire time you're watching the movie, you can predict jump scares. You're like, oh, here's something coming. They would literally have scenes set up with a huge open space on the screen and you'd just be thinking, oh, I wonder what's gonna pop up there. 2 seconds later, ah! And you're just like, didn't see that coming. It's just a silly movie. It's just not very scary. It's just very generic. And I think for me, it disappointed me more than maybe it will disappoint some others. I really enjoy the Conjuring franchise, and outside of the one Annabelle film, I've really enjoyed all the other movies. I was really hoping for more. I thought that maybe they had learned their lesson with the first Annabelle movie, and it almost makes me feel like we're gonna get another Nun movie that may end up being better than this one, but kind of like we did with Annabelle. So let's talk a little bit more about some of my positives, and one of my main ones would probably be the main actress. I cannot remember her name right now. I probably should have prepared, but I will put the words right there so you guys can know. So she's from American Horror Story, or at least that's what I remember her from, and she's also related to the woman who plays Mrs. Warren in the Conjuring films, which is pretty interesting. I really enjoyed her in American Horror Story. When I heard that she was a part of this, I was all about it. And I would say her performance in this movie is pretty solid. She's the one character that you're kind of like, all right, let's see what happens. Sadly, the movie never really takes you to anywhere super interesting where her character can do too much more than just be scared or be the main protagonist that you're watching the whole time. But I actually really enjoyed her performance. It was believable. I really felt like she was really a nun stuck in this situation. As far as production value goes, I really enjoyed how the sets looked. I loved the cinematography, and there was a lot of creepy visuals that I really enjoyed. But I really feel like that's all I can say about the movie. It's not terrible, but it's not great in any shape or form. It's the kind of horror movie that will be forgotten. I think that if it wasn't part of the Conjuring franchise, in the next few years, nobody would even think about it. But because we're no doubt going to be getting more Conjuring movies, we'll probably think and look back on it and be like, yeah, that movie. I think if you're a fan of horror and the Conjuring franchise, I would definitely recommend checking it out at least. It's not something that I would say don't watch it at all. Outside of the story just being okay, there are elements present for fans of horror and for fans of the Conjuring franchise. So if you are a fan of either, I would totally recommend checking out the movie. I don't think it's god-awful, and I don't think it's something you shouldn't watch, but it's just kind of there. It's not the kind of movie that will ever be remembered in the long run, and if you were on the fence about watching it and you weren't really into it to begin with, I would say you'd probably walk out feeling the same way and almost like maybe you wasted your time. The movie really doesn't add all that much to the character and the lore of the nun, and I think that's the thing that disappointed me the most about this movie. It's not terrible, but it's just kind of there, and it doesn't really feel like it was necessary. It's just littered with cheap scares, and I was never really scared of anything happening on screen. I never felt uncomfortable. I never felt any sense of horror. Never, not one time. And it just kind of was there. It was just there. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching my review of The Nun. I really appreciate it. Let me know what you thought. Did you like it? I have spoken to some people who liked it. I totally get it. I can see where some people would. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. If you like this video, hit that like button and make sure you subscribe for more videos. Bye-bye.